This is a presentation of SBE 15, New York City.
I'm going to go into my presentation, which is called Digital Signage for Broadcast Facilities. Who, what, when, where, and especially why. Okay, I'm Jeff. I think everybody on this call knows who I am. But anyway, here's my resume in logos, and I think I've worked with just about everybody in the New York City area at one time or another, including Gilbert Gottfried on top there, who just passed away the other day. So we're going to bring it back to the very beginning. Excuse me if it's a little basic, but the phrase digital signage is something that some folks know and some people don't know. So I have a little video here that's going to explain what it's all about.
What is digital signage? You see them every day. High-definition video displays used as signs. They easily communicate menus at donut shops, where you get your coffee, and fast food menus. They direct you in shopping malls, office buildings, and transportation. Advantages include reduced printing costs, the ability to update easily and quickly. Now digital signage is affordable, even to small businesses. Sprite Media can help you decide if digital signage is right for you. Email or call us.
Now that we all feel like better people for knowing about digital signage, let's get into it. Okay, so I call the presentation Who, What, Where, When, and Why. The who is everybody on the call. The what is digital signage. So I got half of that done. And we're going to talk more about the where and why. So back in the oldie days, they could only dream of digital signage. But how would that help our facilities now? It would help with communication workflow, promotions, and possibly generating some income. And we're going to start off with the studio clock. I'm sure everybody on this call has seen the one in the upper right corner, the old Leach clock, which has pretty much been the same for 40 years. I don't think it's changed in our lifetime. They were expensive, and they still are. They need their own timing cables, and what you see is what you get. So what we have now with digital signage doing the clocks is they're NTP synced. They run off of an internet connection, and you can own one or many. Plus, you can put your logo, calendar, closures, military time, just about anything you can think of we can put on a screen. Now we'll talk about where you would want to put a sign. So one of the objectives of this little talk here is for you guys to think about where this would make sense. You can't really answer it, just put up a TV just because we want to put up a TV. What's the purpose of that? So in a lobby, it would be first impression, branding, information, and I'll say it over and over again, generate income. In a studio, these days everybody takes pictures in the studios. You have cameras, you got YouTube videos, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got that Twitter thing, you got everything. And you've probably heard studios being named after companies as income. So let's say the WXYZ Tropicana studio. That's another valued added opportunity, and you can put that name on the sign, so whenever there's pictures taken, that name for the sponsors up there, and sponsors like that. These studios are easily changeable for multiple programs. You can list your guests up there or the topics, and of course you need to have some nice sharp graphics. You want to make it look like the TV news. Performance spaces. Quite a few radio stations have performance spaces where you have musical groups come up, or somebody speaking, a guest or whatever, with the fans. I know we haven't had much of that in the last 2 years, but I'm sure this is going to be coming back. So it's always good to make the audience aware of your upcoming events, your branding, sponsorship again, photo opportunities, and to letting the folks know about your other stations too. That's something that surprises people, that you have multiple stations. The newsroom. One of the pet peeves I have is seeing news assignments on post-it notes and whiteboards, just really sloppy and hard to understand and read and blah, blah, blah. So you would like to have a location where everybody knows to look at, to know what's going on, to know what the topics of the day are, to know what the assignments are, to know what the latest news or weather is on this. So you would have one board up there or multiple boards with all this information, so no one would have an excuse to say, well, gee, I didn't know what my assignment is, I didn't know what time I was supposed to start, stuff like that. Remotes. So a couple of pictures we have here with a couple of hockey shows that we did. And the bottom picture, we had about 500 guests. Well, they were patrons of the restaurant, and they had no idea what was going on. And people would coming up to us saying, what's going on, until we put the screen up. So this was a hockey show. They actually had hockey players from the Philadelphia Flyers, and they were giving away really good gifts like jerseys, autographs, hockey pucks, tickets, things like that. And it made it really clear once we put it up on the screen what was going on, and people were paying attention at that point. We have another one, another hockey show in the above picture, but it made the point across. And you could see now as the auto show starts in New York, I've been at a few radio stations that have been on the auto show, and they usually say, who's here? What are you giving away? What's going on? And you can let that be known via these digital signage. They can be on the internet. They don't have to be on the internet. So think about, where else could you see a digital signage for your facility making sense? Maybe at a shopping mall with the logo, letting people know what's on the air, who's on the air. Local businesses, the street team. We actually had at one station, it was Hot 97, we had a van that the sides opened up and it was all video games, which was kind of cool at the time. But I'm thinking about it now, it would have been great to have some signage to say what was going on. Also events, every station puts on concerts or has a walkathon or whatever they do. So it's always good to pass along the information. Now, what content would you want to put on a digital sign? There's some pretty obvious ones like logos, upcoming information, sponsors, welcome message, clocks, live info, such as weather and news, and social media. Of course, that's bigger and bigger every day. Now, how are you going to get this content on the display? Well, we're not the only one out there who does digital signage, and there's quite a few different ways to do it, and it can be a little boggling when you try to come up with some digital signage and you have to start from square one. Because there's standalone TV monitors, there are media-based players, there are cloud-based players, you got computers, USBs, you have Raspberry Pis and dedicated players. So there's a whole bunch of different roads you can go down, and some of them are good roads and some of them just end up taking a lot of time and money. So how can you, the folks here, make a digital sign for free? Yes, I said it, for free. So you'll need a TV monitor that has a USB input. You will need a USB key formatted to NTFS. And then you're going to need images that are 1920 by 1080, which is basically HD. PowerPoint or other. You can use something like Canva. There's a bunch of free programs out there. You can also make looping MP4 videos, which would work as well on the USB key. Now we're going to do a demo right here. I'm going to show you something real easy to do if you want to make a sign using Google Slides. What's Google Slides? So Google Slides is part of the Google universe. If you have a Gmail address, you have access to Google Slides. Okay, it's similar to PowerPoint, and it's pretty easy to use. So on this, I made 3 possible signs. On the one you see here for Z108, it's got a 1920 by 1080 background, and you can find a background just by going to Google Images and search on copyright-free backgrounds. So really easy to get. You don't need to make one from scratch. You throw your logo in as on another layer, and then you can add some text if you want. I made another one here that I just took a city background. And so there's only 3 elements: background, logo, and text. And obviously you can make this as complex as you want. And here's one for a newsroom that I thought looked pretty good. So what you want to do is make this slide, and you're not playing it as a slideshow. What you're going to go in and you're going to hit File, and then you're going to hit Download. And you're going to download this as either a JPEG or a PNG, so as a single image. And then you're going to put that image on your memory key. And once it's on the memory key, you insert it into the TV, and you go to multimedia on your TV and click play. And you can have it, if it's just one panel, just stay up there forever. And it's certainly better than having a blank screen, and Keith on the call here can confirm with me. He can just nod on this since we're all muted, that blank screens do not look good. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Sprite Media. The stuff we spoke about a little earlier is pretty much generic signage and not for us. So we're going to talk about what we do at Sprite Media. By the way, Sprite Media is 7 years old, and we've been doing signage for a while, and we kind of got a good hang of it. And the stuff that you saw before would not be as complex as some of this stuff, which includes accurate clocks, complex images, produced videos, outside data such as weather and news, social media, triggers, and we also have our own easy to update server built in. So we got another little video here that we'd like to share with you, basically how the Sprite Media players work. So enjoy this short video.
Your Sprite Media digital signage package will arrive ready to go. It will include the Sprite Media player, power cord, HDMI cable, and Ethernet cable. Plug the Ethernet cable into the media player and into your local intranet. Plug the HDMI cable into the media player and into the back of your display. Plug the power cable into the media player and into the power outlet. It will take about a minute or so for your digital sign to boot up. Note IP address and extension when booting up. It'll appear on the screen where the Sprite Media logo is for 10 seconds every time you boot up your player. Your IP address, user and password should be on your documentation included. Put IP address in browser of computer, tablet, or smartphone. This device need to be on the same internet service as the digital sign. Log in with username and password. You will then see the Sprite command page. Type in changes to text on this page. You will see the changes immediately after you press Enter or Go. Be sure to refresh the command page to see the update and prepare it for any additional changes. Depending on your specific digital signage, you may have option buttons. Pressing or clicking will make changes to your display. In this case, the design of the sign is being changed. Add bookmark or shortcut to make it easier next time. The Sprite command page can be used on a tablet in both landscape and portrait modes. A smartphone will work the same as well. You also have the choice of using a computer. The unique Sprite command page allows you to make changes quickly and easy without any programming knowledge, so your information is always correct.
Okay. So what are the benefits of using Sprite media players? We have world-class media players that are meant to be on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We do not use Raspberry Pis, which are $40 computers, though other folks do it. You own the device. We do the heavy lifting. We put it all together for you, so there is no manual to go through, and I think our instructions are pretty much one page. We write our own software, so some of the stuff you'll see that we do is unique. There is no monthly fees. There's no licensing fees. We have the digital signage expertise. We've been doing this for a number of years. We have the unique command page, so there is no programming to be done. I've heard this story that when they sell water in stadiums for different events, they change the prices depending on what the event is, if it's a concert or ball game. And what they do at some of the stadiums is they have to go around to each display and reprogram it. So it seems like a big hassle. Also, the displays, if you don't like it after a while or things change, you can reformat it and start all over again. So this is the command page that we've been talking about. It's got a few buttons on it. On top, as you can see, those are different choices of designs, and then you can type right in what you want to have on the screen. So anybody who's got the IP address and tag and username and password can go right in there. You can put it as a shortcut, and you can easily make changes super fast, because the last thing you want to have on your screen is stale data. You don't want to have information about your holiday party, Christmas party in July. We have a thing against stale data. So we have a unique product called the stretch clock, and I have built in a little video demonstration, but I'm going to go right to a live stretch clock I have going here in my office, which you can all see here. So I'm going to go on to, I'm going to show you here, this is my command page for that specific sign here. So where it says, you see where it says welcome everybody, I'm going to go to that right now and change it to welcome everybody SBE 15. So you see how fast that went. And also the buttons that you saw on the screen, I'm changing the font on the top title. So you have quite a few choices of things. I like the changes in the background because you can give it quite a different look depending on what's going on. And we do have some motion backgrounds I'll get to in a second, but you can put a picture of your building or the city, and we do all the formatting and photoshopping on that for you. Here's a moving background. You can't do stuff like that on Raspberry Pis. And you also have the ability to have multiple logos in there. And also the clock faces. It's my little leech clock look-alike. So you'll see that changing from the buttons I'm pushing here. Okay, so I'm going to bring us back to the presentation. So this is a product that we came up with fairly recently. We call it the Podcaster, but it's not necessarily for podcasts because it's the name of shows. So you could have multiple shows with the same video on the screen that you can change on the fly. And this is great to have back in the studio if you have a talk show with guests where you can put the guest names up or the topics, and you can change the look of it. I'm going to fast forward. We have a bit of a brick wall, a chalkboard, This one, you have a sportcaster. You put that up, and you can see we have Broadcasters General Store and Creative Dimension as the sponsors on these. If you have an entertainment show, you can do this. And I believe we have 12 backgrounds in this. So, and we can make changes for specific programs. If you have, a basketball type program, we could put in graphics for basketball or race cars or whatever it might be. But I think almost everyone in here is a moving background. And the whole thing is it has to look good. If it looks like a bad PowerPoint, no one's going to pay attention to it, and it's going to look terrible in photos. Now, this is the broadcast brand. What's unique about this is that you don't need an internet connection for this. So you send your text and your commands directly to the media player. So this would be great, as we were talking before about having this at an auto show. You put this out for your stations. Obviously, it's going to get attention with graphics like that, and it'll answer the question of what's going on, who's here, that type of thing. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit to show you some of the other backgrounds and fonts we've got going here. So this is a brand new product that we're going to be showing off at the NAB show. What is that, in 2 weeks? And it's called the Dashboard Express. And this came out of people's requests for having a display that has information on it that changes, that doesn't cost anything per month. You pay one price, you own it, and the data you see here is legal and doesn't cost anything. So on the right, folks might see that I borrowed the WBGO Twitter feed to put up here. And it's got weather from the National Weather Service. And the Twitter feed just changed to a welcome sign to put your guests in. And you'll see events, which is changeable. And this station had news. So actually, we made this for a station, even though it says Sprite on it. But they had a deal with ABC News, so we just put their ABC News in the feed. So we're all about doing things the right way and legally. If folks say they can make you a screen that has CNN information and you're not paying for it, it's not legal. So we're going to send you right over to our live display. This is another monitor in my office of a display we made for Heart of Wisconsin Media in Wisconsin Rapids, which you can see that actually is live data on the weather map. You can see they are having a mess right now. So just be glad that we're not in Wisconsin at the moment. All right, I'm going to open the floor in just a second. Just give me a second for questions, but I'd like to thank everybody for being here, first of all, and like to mention that our products are available from the Broadcasters store. A great bunch of people over there. Here's our website info. Here is our email and our phone number. And obviously you can contact me, which I think everybody here knows who I am from all the emails I send out. We're also going to be at the NAB show. Look for Broadcasters General Store, which is C2628, that's Central Hall. And come by and see us, because we're going to have live demonstration of the stretch clock and also the Dashboard Express and some others. And come by and say hi anyway. We have no idea how many people are going to show up this year or how that's going to run. So I am going to switch my format right now so we can open the floor up to comments and questions and things like that. All right, everybody. Thanks for the patience, but I would like to open it up questions and comments.
Hi, Jeff. It's William.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, I'd like a little bit of information about the legality issue. I didn't think there was any legal problems with showing anything I wanted on the signage. So could you go into that a little bit?
Oh, sure thing. Like, so if you wanted to scroll an RSS feed of news, CNN, you're perfectly fine to do that at home. You can look up anyone you want. You can look up Yahoo Weather, but as soon as I put it on a sign and I sell it like that, I'm selling this, that's a big no-no. You have to pay for even CNN. If you do a CNN news scroll at home, that's fine. If I put it on the sign, you have to pay monthly for it. The same scroll. The one thing that you can bypass is if it's a government-based product with the U.S. government, like the National Weather Service, is free to use. Is So we're looking for domain. What do you call that? Drawing a blank on the name as.
Public domain.
Open domain, yes. So yeah, that type of thing. But we want to do things legal. I saw one digital signage company that said they would put any radio station up on it and give you any news service, and they were selling it like that, and you really legally cannot do that. So we like to do things the right way, and what's good about most broadcast facilities is they usually subscribe to a news service. So we're happy to add your news service to a display. But we can answer any questions. There's a question from Andy. I see on the chat. Is the Sprite media player similar to the Bright Sign player? Good catch. It is the Bright Sign player. We are actually a licensed dealer of Bright Sign. If anyone's familiar with that, which is the most popular media player out there. I was going to see if I have one on the side of me. And it's a really well put together box, and we think it's the best box in the business. And when we started the business, we did not use that. And I got to do a sit down with the CEO of that company. It actually was started by Roku, if you're familiar with that. It started as professional Roku. But I will tell you one thing, we can sell you, Sprite Media can sell you a Bright Sign at the same price they sell it at. I will warn you right now, it's not what you're going to expect. It's going to take a long time to get a handle on how everything works. They even have their own language called BrightScript. And a lot of the things that you just saw on the screen were HTML coded, which I do. There are other ones you can find on Amazon for like $99, but they're going to do similar things as what we showed you with the USB key, where you're going to be able to put an image up or a slideshow or something like that. And if that's all you need, that's fine. If anyone came to me and asked me to put up a slideshow, I would say they could do it for free. It doesn't make sense to, pay the money and have us do all the work when it's simple like that. But when you start going into, clocks, I actually draw those face clocks, and Bright Sign doesn't even offer a face clock. I actually, besides myself, I've never seen anyone else be able to put a face clock on Bright Sign, and that's because it's written in JavaScript. So hope that answered your question. It is a really good product, and that's why we stayed with we stay with them. We actually started off using a Chrome box as our first product, and Chrome did an update, and all the signs went into oblivion because computers want to be computers, and digital signage media players want to be digital signage media players. They don't care if they're updated or not. They just want to play displays on their screens. Well, computers will do updates, and everybody knows when you're on Windows and it decides to update at the worst possible time. This actually, the building I'm working in has a video wall that is Windows based, and I say almost daily the screen has a blue screen of death or nothing on it. So not a big recommender of doing that for digital signage at your facility. So we are definitely want to see everybody out there do some version of digital signage, whether it's our own or somebody else's or your own. But we want to spread this around more in the broadcast space. We are also known as the first ones to be in that space. And we learn a little bit each and every year. I'm going to throw it over real briefly to Keith, who is our marketing and sales director for Sprite Media, and that gets him a hat, and he'll let you know how to get a hold of us and how to set up an order for Sprite Media.
Hi, everyone, and hi, Conrad. How are you? Um, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Glad everyone's with us. And we're excited about this product. Just lately, it seems like well, maybe not lately, but for us lately, there's so much studio renovation going on, and we keep getting the same request. Can we make this more exciting? Can we make it nicer? Can we, we've got a showcase studio, and I'm surprised its time hasn't come before this, but we really can make it colorful and fun and the changeability, I don't think we probably got the best product that's not known out there, that you can take any device and change the colors and the words and the scripts. And a feather in our cap is I've been to big colleges and I asked them about digital signage and they just couldn't stand it. The guy told me that I was seeing, he says, it's been 6 months, it's been the same sign. I say hi to it every morning, take off my coat, but they just didn't have the programmers and the people that could change that without spending a fortune. And they already had spent a fortune. So there's probably no one that has anything more affordable and simple to use, and it's just a game changer. And I would welcome you to go to our website, spritemedia.com.
Sprite-media.
Sprite-media.com. Yeah, we're easy to find. It pops up all over, but some really great ideas, and putting it where we put it, from a loading dock to a municipality, and that's where I came in. A lot of the screens that we're doing now are a variation of the one that Jeff asked me if we had a need for it. And I had put a lot of years into working for a city. And I said, boy, I would love this. We have a 70-inch TV in the lunchroom and the guys are watching Gilligan's Island. And of course, the younger guys, what's that? But I'll leave that there. And, we would write a snow plow schedule on a whiteboard and then somebody would walk by 10 minutes later and their sleeve would take the thing out. And I just shake my head, and driving trucks that weren't supposed to be driven. So we take anything that can aggravate the station owner or the city and make sure it's on that screen. And if we have to, we make it flash and we make it repeat. And it just brings everyone to the same page, and there's just unprecedented accountability and just job satisfaction. You have more of those nice days. Everybody will say, it's kind of a good day because you know what's going on. And there's no telling HR you didn't see the form was due for the last month. And it's a good thing that everybody likes. And we're excited to be in the broadcast arena because it's getting some good locations. And again,
we had one to pick up on that. We had one at a place I worked at, and it's one of the biggest broadcasters in the country. And they put them up in the hall next to every elevator. And at first we're like, wow, this looks great. And they had some nice graphics on it. So they had 3 slides. 6 months later, the same 3 slides without completely outdated information. And after a while, people just ignored it. And, this is exactly what we don't want as a company. We want you to be able to change it super easy. And we want data like Twitter feeds that automatically update, that you don't have to do any work or think about it. And we know everybody out there who's an engineer just does not have the time or bandwidth to deal with something like that. And that's what we thought, how we can serve the community. And we listened a lot at NAB over the years of what people requested. My first product that we had out had a monthly fee on it, and nobody wanted to pay a monthly fee. And actually, I think, Conrad, I did a fake pitch when I first started the company like 7 years ago. And I think your response to me is like, look in the lobby. There's no one here right now. Why am I paying you monthly for something like this? Mm-hmm. And I was like, good point. I listen. So I think this is really exciting for us, the Dashboard Express that has updating data with no fees and all legal. Anything else?
Jeff, there's a message, question from Bill in the chat. Is it possible?
Yes.
Video window.
So most of the scrolling is RSS feeds. So a lot of businesses and a lot of communication companies have RSS feeds. If you just go to, if you Google RSS feed, you'll see a boatload of them. So you can insert anyone there to scroll. The New York Mets have one, if you're a Mets fan out there, and you can hear about each and every injury that they have on a daily basis by scrolling their RSS feed. So yes.
I would add, if you go to the website, sprite-media.com, we have a great example on a municipal screen where we have it all on there. We have the scrolling messages, we have the flashing alerts, and they can all be triggered and changed in seconds if you want to stop flashing. And my point was actually the mayor is coming to have lunch. Do not park in his spot. And I've told Jeff, I needed to flash. I needed to scroll. I needed to, anything that could go wrong here. I need it up on that
Yeah,
screen.
we want real world. We, like it's not Keith and I just sitting there saying, "Oh, what makes sense." We want to hear from people what they need. And if there's something, a light bulb over your head, you're thinking right now, I could really use something like this for a studio, but I didn't see it on it. Let us know, and we'll come up with a mock-up of it. I actually had a home shopping channel wanted to have the name of the show in progress with the next show coming up for each studio. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. We can have it on a schedule, and you can easily change the schedule, by clock. We did. I don't know if you noticed one. We did assign, I guess, one of our more prestige clients for Illumination Studios, the Minion people, which I was surprised why they came to us, since they do Minions. But we were happy to do it for them. And Hofstra University has asked me to make a stretch clock that looks like, and I quote, the Starship Enterprise. So we're going to have a few mock-ups going to there. They want it bright and flashy, and I'm like, we can do that for you.
It wasn't Disney. It was too bright, right? The first time ever someone wanted a darker sign for Minions.
Oh, yeah. Illumination Studios said it was too bright. They wanted it was for their theater. And they said it was too bright. I'm like, okay, you're the first person to say that to us.
But you'll get
anything else?
Attention.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Hi, it's John Garamendi. I didn't catch the beginning, so I wasn't here for the entire presentation. But can you do portrait as well as landscape?
You bring up a really good point here. Yeah, we can do that. So if any folks out there decide they want to do their own screen and do it in portrait, do not buy a TV at Best Buy and do that, because the TVs are not vented properly to go in portrait direction. So you need to get a professional TV that has the venting and has the more stable circuitry in that. And the truth is, they're not terribly expensive. They're not terribly much more expensive than the consumer models. But yes, we format that, and even the stretch clock, the formatting on that is 1920 by 540. So and we can even do that one vertically. We can do also video walls with even different sizes TVs, where like somebody would walk between TVs, and they're all different sizes. So yeah, we've been doing this for a while, so we've kind of got the hang of stuff, and we've learned along the way.
Jeff, that was my question about the video wall. So the device that you showed in the video feeds one television. Does it feed more than one, or do you need more than one device and then a software package to drive the multiple devices?
Another great question. You need one per each TV, and one becomes the master when there's more than one. So it's each TV needs a media player, and then you can actually design from the first one to send out the signals to the other ones. So you can do 2x2, 4x4, 10x10, and it's gotten a lot easier over the years to do this stuff. When I first started, it was major math.
And the web interface understands that there's a 4x4 setup?
Yes. You start the programming, letting it know. And that's the same thing if I would do a portrait mode. You do the setup as a portrait mode. Just as you may have noticed on the clock I have, it has specific time on it. And it's in the player that it thinks it's going to Vegas, which it is. So you set it up that way. So it's all in the initial setup.
Great.
Anyone else? And if you missed the beginning of it, of course, I'm going to take the recording and post it on our website. We just look under past meetings, and we have all of them since Conrad and I started this party 2 years ago.
Is it that long already? Wow.
Time flies when you're having a good time.
Jeff, thanks for presenting. Appreciate that.
That's very nice.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for attending.
Thanks for joining us. Please remember to subscribe to SBE 15 New York City.